all about balance. Balance, stay. Ah, lost it. I think it broke off. Nope, it's right there. Hi everybody, welcome back to Poems and Stones. This week we are going to be having some fun with a Hitachi 160 excavator. We are going to continue our project of taking down huge poplar trees and stacking them up over here. Now we've been working on this for a couple of years. We bought this chunk of land behind me and it had a couple wooded patches, and we left some big trees on the property line, as well as down here behind me. We're gonna leave the maples, but there's a couple more poplar trees and sucker trees. We're gonna pull those out. So we'll get the machine checked out and let's go farming. So you can tell we've already kind of started here. We've been pushing some of the smaller trees out with our loader. Now that may not be the perfect tool for some of the project based on the amount of roots and how big these trees are. But now that we've gotten closer to this one, and this trunk has what appears to be about 8 different, before I thought there's no way I'd be able to take this tree down, but the more I look at it, the more I think we can do it. And no better way to see if I fail than to put it on YouTube. But first, we're gonna clean up some of this rocks and concrete that we had put down where we had our deer fence before, because this spot was so low. So we have our loader here with the bucket. I'll have the other guy come over and grab some of this. We'll put it in his bucket. He'll take it to a rock pile, and then we'll start rooting around and digging these trees out. But first, we gotta check the machine out, get it greased, and let it warm up a little bit, because we really haven't used it that much since last winter. So you might be wondering why my truck's parked under it. I can't reach the very top cylinder, the pins up there. So I have to climb up on the back of my truck and then onto my toolbox in order to grease the very top of it. Okay, I don't have a rag, so we'll just do a little, we'll wipe that off. That'll do. Coolant was good. Now our machine here is a little bit clapped out. It's definitely seen a lot of hours. And before we bought it, I think the person who was selling it to us said it's perfect for a farmer because all the pins are pretty loose. And so you kind of are just looking for somebody who got enough oil in it, hydraulic oil. And it's mostly perfect for a farmer because they can just beat on it, which is exactly what we're doing. Not necessarily good for touch work like you would use in an excavation company. So it is what it is. It has a hydraulic thumb, which is key to what we're trying to do. So we'll get her fired up and hope no mice come running out, because we just kind of left it in the field all summer. So like I said, in order for me to get all the way up to the top, I'm gonna have to climb up onto the arm here in order to get up to the very tippy top pin, but that's okay. Oh no. Oh, I thought I was gonna get grease all over me right off the bat on a Monday morning. That's not ideal. You'd hate to see it. Uh-oh. I think it broke off. Nope, it's right there. I saw videos online of people that were changing their grease guns really fast. But what I'm not willing to do is sacrifice my clothes this early just for speed. Oh, and as always, we gotta clean up the trash. I don't have a trash bag. It's gonna be a tough look. All right, so the loader's here. We're now gonna pick up these chunks of concrete and take them so he can go put them on a rock pile. He's gotta go forward a little bit so I can tip this in. Let's get the bucket up. There we go. Now we're thinking, guy. Let's try and push that in there. Wowzer. All right, so he's gonna take these over to a different pile where we're collecting all of this stuff, because I don't want it here in the valley where I'm gonna have to start disking here in a little bit once I get my tractor back from Zach when he's done fumigating. I'm assuming this is gonna take him probably 2 trips to get that done. Nice and easy. See how sloppy the machine is? I can already hear it now. Here, you gotta go up. What did he do? Stall. He stalled it out. You hate to see it. There we go. I think that's a good enough load for you. Oh, he wants more. He's gonna overload the front tires of this machine. We did put quite a bit of rock down here in this valley because it was such a low spot, and we originally had a deer fence right here, so we shoved a bunch of rock and big huge chunks of concrete, and we put it down here to fill in the low spots so the deer wouldn't come through. And then 3 years later we bought the adjacent, oh my god, we bought the adjacent acreage. In addition, while I'm waiting for him to come back out, I've been, which you can see to the left of the bucket and in front of my truck, digging out a huge tree stump, which is over here right now. We got that all the way dug out. Now I got to fill that hole back in, kind of sift through and get any big roots back out. So that's what we're doing here while we're waiting for him to come back for the rest of these rocks. And then we'll try and get these huge trees down. That's going to be our goal, is I'm going to try and push each of these little chunks, each of these little individual trees that are coming off the main root ball, and hopefully I can bust them up into chunks, which would make it more manageable instead of trying to push over a 100-foot poplar tree with one push. All right, so he's back again for some more. If he would learn a little bit that it's easier for me to put rocks in when he's sideways, we might make this project a lot faster. Oh, the anticipation's killing me. That barely made it in there. If he came up more parallel to me, it would be much easier to get these rocks to fall in. Or I have to lift it up higher, which just makes the drop even further. Which again, just makes it harder on the loader when they smack down onto it. Oh my god, what is this? Like a full perfect square? Yeah, he says thumbs up. Good luck with that, friend. We've now switched implements to a rake instead of the bucket. Not sure. It seems like we won't be able to get as much because it'll fall off the side. But if he was like doing this with the bucket the whole time, we would have been much better off. Rocks are gonna fall right through the bucket. They're too small. Or they're gonna fall out on his way over to the rock pile, but I guess that's not my problem at that point. All right, so we dug out the stump. We've cleaned up this whole hillside now. Got everything ready to go. We've cleaned up all the rocks. The rocks are now gone. So now we're gonna work on taking out this entire big old batch of poplar trees. I did do a test push and was actually pretty simply able to push down one of these. So I'm gonna start by these next two here that are leaning that way, and then we'll come back and push these ones the other way. So we'll find a good spot to put the camera up so you guys can see the show, and we'll start tipping over some big trees. So it's a little easier to move the big trees around when the loader can just pick each one up and carry it around. All right, we're gonna try and push down the big trees now. Wow. Wow. I really thought that was gonna fall down. But doesn't seem like it wants to go yet. Maybe a more straight on approach. Well, I'm not sure that those are gonna come down. The first two trees fell down really easily. So I'm surprised that these are putting up that kind of fight. It doesn't seem like something it would do just based on how easily the first ones came out, but I don't know. More rock. Well, I'm a little bit stumped because I cannot get this to fall down, which is crazy due to the fact that it's leaning so far. So I also went under here and I started to try to dig up around it, and all it is rock. So maybe that's a reason why I'm having such a difficult time, is because it's just full of rock. I don't know what someone was just dumping loads and loads of rock in here, but that's making for this to be an interesting job. I just can't believe that this won't fall down. I mean, look how far. This is straight. And that's completely leaning over. That could fall over in a windstorm, but right here, right now, won't come down. You hate to see it. So I guess I gotta think a little bit and figure out how I'm going to reposition myself and do a little digging in order to get this tree to fall down, because it's not working the way we're trying. So my new game plan is to dig all the way around it, separate the roots and the rocks, and then we'll try and get after the rest of pushing this tree over. This is what you get when you try and dig out these poplars. They're big, they're old, they're huge. So there's not much else we can do besides just try and work our way around the tree and eliminate all the larger roots that are putting feelers out into the perimeter, into the border, and we'll try and push it down after we've loosened up the edges, which in theory should work. It's just a little more time consuming than I thought I wanted to be doing with it. But it is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do. You know, it's all just a big game of leverage. You just gotta find the right spot to grab onto and the right spot to push on or pull on. And then you'll start winning. You'll start winning the battle. We haven't tried pushing on these ones yet. Nope. That's crazy. Just fall over. Has everything got to be such a fight? Well, I'm glad that didn't head toward my truck. That one was pretty well broken, pretty well rotted and rot in half already, so we'll take it. Crushed. And it already split itself into 2 chunks, so I just gotta... Wow, that still doesn't want to let go. There it goes. Oh, really? You're just gonna... There we go. I love hydraulics. Just picking up huge trees like it's nothing. So we'll see if I can, we'll see if we can get to the other couple branches on the other side now. I'll build myself a little, we just need a little ramp. Oh, this one will go. I just gotta get set up a little better. We got another chunk down. It's interesting how strong these are. You just gotta, I guess we just gotta pluck away at it little bit by little bit. Okay, well, because I've now moved on from my project of those big trees, because I think they're just a little bit too deeply rooted and I can't get any closer to dig on them until we get the arms off, so we're gonna have to cut them down with a chainsaw, I'm guessing, first. So I've moved on to a root ball over here by another poplar tree that I know I should be able to get out. I've been digging around it here for a couple minutes and it should be ready to pop out. So, I mean, we should try and be able to roll this one out now, because they're like big, they call them a root ball for a reason. If you don't hold on to it just right, it wants to, look at that, rolled all the way back in. So I gotta kind of drive backward as I'm rolling it out in order to keep it from falling back in. See that to stay up. There we go. Then once it's out of danger of rolling back in, you can bring it up here. Look at that thing. So now we're gonna head over here behind the bucket. Nice little root ball. There's over there left of it now. I'm gonna go try and take out the bigger maple trees. All right, so now that we have given up on the trees over there, which I'm kind of bummed about, I really thought that I was going to be able to get those down, but that's okay. That happens sometimes. So now we are over here on the other side of the farm where we have a little tiny patch in the middle of this 40-acre chunk that's left here that we are going to be pulling out the rest of the trees with our case loader and our Hitachi that we were running yesterday. So Tyler is over here. He is taking away a lot of the trees, and he's actually singling out, which you'll see in the drone shots, he's actually singling out some really nice maple trees that I'm thinking that we're going to be able to spade and move and utilize them better instead of just getting rid of them. But now my main challenge is going to be getting out these huge trees here behind me. Yesterday I started digging around the base of the trees, try and break up the roots as best I can, but as you can tell, it's pretty difficult to move these big trees. So I have to get in between the two of them a little bit more, and then hopefully I'll be able to kick them out and tip them over. And then we'll see how big the root balls are and how big of a pain it is to get all of those up and out. So the technique that you'll see him using when he takes the trees out is you go underneath with the root rake and you pop the trees up, and then he tips them over and drags them back. And then while he's dragging them back, he shakes the rake forward and back, trying to get the most dirt as possibly can out of the root ball. Because when you get the dirt out of the root ball, it definitely helps the fire better. Because when you put a bunch of dirt on a fire, guess what? It goes out. Everybody knows that. So when you're taking trees out, you got to work really hard to get as much dirt out of the root balls as you possibly can. And some root systems are very vast and leaves a lot of dirt that you have to get out of there. So you'll see him doing that. He pulls them out backward, then he lines them all up in a row, and then he'll change and hit the tree row perpendicularly and push them and lift them right on top of the fire. Look at us, the whole gang working together. The best way I've found to try and get these maples out is you gotta work your way around the trunk, break off the roots in the exterior, and then once you get a good border done and passed around, or the dirt's all loosened up, you should be able to get up and kind of push onto the tree. We have had enough. I think you got it. Now, we would usually leave maple trees, but now that we're trying to open up this specific area for added acreage for farming timber, we're going to take all of the trees out here because we would like to increase the amount of usable land here. So now that we have the main tree down, I kind of just have to loosen up the root ball, because as you can tell, it's still connected here on the backside. So I'll push on it a little bit, and then I'll try and scrape most of the heavy dirt off because we don't want that in the fire. Maybe I could try to pull it from the trunk. Scrape all these roots up. Roots. Isn't that such a Michigan thing? If anybody else is watching, you say something different, like roots, let me know what you say, because you know, here in this part of Michigan, we're big root guys. Oh, root, or roots, roof. We say things a little bit differently. What is another one? I think there's fire and fire. Well, I was too worried about the drone shot that I forgot to turn the camera on in the cab, but holy hell, check out these maples went down. We had to get both pieces of equipment in. It's probably not the most safest place I've ever been, but look at that. That's crazy. That is a huge root ball. I mean, I gotta climb out of a hole just to get over to it. That's about as big as maple trees as we'll ever mess with to take out. Took both machines. We had our Hitachi 160 and our cat loader pushing on them, and finally got it to fall down. Now we got to figure out how to pick this thing apart. I'll probably start by raking some of the dirt off the root ball, and looks like Tyler's already working on taking the chunks away. As long as it doesn't hit my truck, it'll be a W for the day. So I'll probably try and get parallel with the root balls and use the side of the bucket, scrape that dirt away, just to try and make this a little bit lighter for us to, I don't know how we're gonna get it out of the hole. We might have to get a chain and drag it out, but either way. The tree apart now, bit by bit. Tyler's taking it over to the bird pile. He's trying to just climb by rolling up more and more brush right on top, trying to make the fire as hot as possible so we can burn what's a pretty green tree. So he's just trying to get it as hot as he possibly can. It's all about balance. Balance, stay. I lost it. We've made our way probably halfway done. He's leaving some of the maples out because we might be able to move those since they're still really nice maples. There's no need to burn them all. So we have that left, but it really is shaping up. I'll get you guys an overhead shot so you can see that we're kind of putting the final touches on this portion of the field that we finished up, and he's got the burn pile all cleaned up. We started a second fire over there just because it's too far to carry the trees all the way over here, especially when we're working on the other side of this. So as you can tell, we started way over here and got to just about there. But I am actually taking off on vacation, so I'm assuming that all of this will be done the next time that we check back in on the channel. So really looking forward to seeing how it turns out, because we're adding, like I said, an additional chunk of land, because on the other side of it, the field cuts in. Then we have this wooded lot from previous logging, and then it opens up here and runs all the way up almost to our spray barn. So it'll be nice to get this all the way opened up, because like I've said a couple times, we are planting 30 acres of apples in 3 different varieties here in about 1 year, the fall of 2026. So with that being said, you guys, thank you very much for watching, and we will catch you guys in the next video. YouTube wants you guys to click this. We will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.